Hello crafty friends, welcome to today's Die Cut December 2024 video. Today we're going to use pattern paper and thank you / grateful dies to create some thank you cards. These are the dies that I've pulled out of my stash to work with. They're all my dies that say grateful or thankful or you're too kind. I'm also going to work with the Cocoa Vanilla Studio paper pack from their Happy Days collection. So we use pattern paper today. And I'm going to use my random number generator here and my NB cards card making prompts that I shared with you back in my 10 ways to get your mojo back video. Back then I think there were 155-ish prompts. There's now 175. So I'm going to use this random number generator to generate some numbers to help me pick off this list. So the minimum is 1, the maximum is 175, and I'm just going to hit it a few times, and it says 56. Embossing powder opaque. So I'll write that down. Embossing powder opaque. So that could be opaque white, could be gold, silver, copper, rose gold, what have you. Let's do another few. 70 frames. Okay, so we could include some frames. Let's hit it a few times. Number 4, birthday. No, we're not doing birthday cards today, we're doing thank you cards. 104. Masking paper, okay. That might involve some inking or something, or texture paste. 58. Embossing powder white. I'm going to ignore that one because we've got embossing powder opaque. These things are here to serve you, not the other way around. So if you're a random number generator, pick something you really don't want to work with or you haven't got, just ignore it and pick another number. 162, stitching real. Ooh. As opposed to faux stitching. 98, one more. Let's see what 98 is. Markers brush. Okay, so that's 5 things that I could work with today. I'm not going to restrict myself to those, and I'm not going to use them if they don't work with the ideas that come, but they're there if I need them. I've sorted my papers out into whole uncut pieces and bits that I've taken stuff from before, and this bit has just presented itself to me as a almost complete background. And I can take a panel out of this quite nicely. So you obviously don't have to have the same papers that I'm working with today. Go through your pattern paper stash or create your own using mixed media techniques. You could very easily make your own rainbow with some paints or some inks, and you can doodle on them like that. So I use very low tack tape on this. This is sort of post-it tape. I just put a little bit of tape runner on the back of this, and now I'm going to add it to my card blank and trim my card blank down. So that's looking very nice. Let's have a look at what we could add from my dies. So maybe a white shadow, so we bring in a bit more of this white down here, and then a metallic thanks. I've die cut my thanks out of smooth wet card, and I'm going to press it down into some embossing ink. Yes, it is going on the back as well as the front, but that doesn't matter. Now I shall dip it in some gold. I did sieve my gold in here the other day, just to get out the little bits of glue and paper and things that end up in it. So if you find your embossing powder, if you keep it in something like this, gets a bit mucky, you can always sieve it. It might increase the static in it, but I don't find that's much of a problem. So I'm going to heat this with my heat tool. I've added some thin 1mm thick foam tape on the back of there just to give it a little bit of a lift. And I'll use my T-square ruler here to get that on nice and straight. About there, I think. Add a little bit of high-tack glue here when it comes out the bottle. There we go, that's more than a little bit, but never mind. Spread that out. Take my thanks and dip it in. I'm going to use the blunt end of the tweezers to press it in so that I don't accidentally mark the embossing with the pointy end. I'm using high-tack glue because it will keep this in place while it dries. There, I think that's placed where I want it. Now I'm going to add a little bit more dimension to this using Nouveau drops. I've got Morning Dew, which dries clear, so the colour beneath will show up. I've got these glitter drops, which are, what are they called? Glitter drops. Have we got a colour on there? I don't know. Doesn't say. Oh, Gold Coast. So they dry clear, but have got some gold glitter in and some white. So let's think. I'm going to start over here and work this way so I don't drag my hand through wet drops. So I'm going to do white here, and I think these will stay white. They won't absorb the ink that's printed. I might be wrong. Well, we shall see. If they don't stay white, if they turn pink, that's fine. So you can use pattern paper and you mix media together. Let's go gold. I do this one slightly differently. I'm going to do 3, then leave a gap, do 3, then leave a gap. Oh, that's not coming out in the right kind of blob. What's going on there? So at the moment they look quite cloudy, but they will dry clear and just be golden glittery. And now the Morning Dew. I think I'll just add a blob, a little dot over this kind of arrow design. So work with the design there. For my next card, I've got a stitched rectangle panel and a thank you with a scripty font and an outline die. I'm going to turn this into a shaker card. So I'm going to put those two right there with a bit of post-it. So that's cut out nicely. And there's the aperture for our shaker card. And now my prompts have given me an idea. I'm going to create a frame around this using real stitching. So I've got a fairly chunky needle here, and I'm going to go around the outside, just poke some little holes. Actually, that's a bit slippery. I'm going to use this, but try and be delicate. It's a bit thicker than the needle, so I just need to not be too forceful with it. I don't want massive holes appearing. So I'll come back to you when I've done that. So I'm thinking for backing my aperture here, I'm going to use this strawberry pattern paper, because it has that shaker feel to it already with the tumbling strawberries on it. And it's not quite the same pink, but it will do the trick. I'm going to go around here with this. This is 6 strand embroidery thread. I'm only going to use 3. Keep the end in place with some washi and stitch all the way around and all the way back. And I'll come back when I've done that. Right, there is my real stitched, hand-stitched frame. Do have to be a little bit gentle, especially around these kind of fiddly areas. You don't pull it too tight and ruck up the paper. I'm going to put a bit of acetate on the back now, and I'm going to run around over the stitching. And I'm going to put some on these little fiddly bits, just making sure that the adhesive is hidden behind them though. I'm also going to go around the very edge of the panel because I'm going to cover the whole of the back of this with acetate. Because of that stitching, it'll make a smaller piece harder to adhere. So we'll just go full backing. Press that down really firmly so it stays where I want it. And then I'll trim off any overhanging plastic. Now I'm going to add some foam tape to create the depth I need for my shaker. This skinny tape is exactly the same depth as the wide tape. I'll take the release paper off this bit because it makes it easier to manoeuvre. So hopefully I've created a seal with all that tape, before I do anything else, I'm going to take off the release paper. For my shaker bits, I'm going to keep it simple with some gold glitter cardstock circles. They shouldn't turn over because it's quite a shallow well that I've created with that thin tape. So that should sit nicely on there. Press that down and I can trim off the excess. There's a little bit exposed there and I can use this tiny little bit to fill that up. So that's all put together now. I'm going to put some glue on the back of my thank you. This is Zig two-way glue. When it's blue, it is a permanent paper sticky glue. But when it goes clear, it's tacky. And I'm going to wait till it goes clear because that will make it stick to the acetate better, I think. So we'll pop that in there, try and get it down in the right place first time so I don't smear any glue. I'll just put something on the top of that just to hold that down until it's permanently stuck. We're on card number 3 now, and I've got this beautiful rainbow paper. Again, it's a paper that you could create yourself with inks or paints, or you could find another pattern paper with a rainbow stripe on. And I've got this scripty thanks. This one doesn't have an outline die, but I thought I would cut maybe a reddy pink, orange, yellow, green. I'll try and get, it might be a bit small. No, I think we'll go for it. And I'll try and sort of capture 3 colours with each die cut. I'm going to cut the end off. So I've got a long bit that I can use on something if I want. Just chop this down so it's easier to run through my die cutting machine. So I want the stripe each time to cut through roughly in the same place on the word. So I'm going to line up the paper and I'll put my die in there so that the stripes, when they're on the letters, are all kind of horizontal, not wonky. You'll see what I mean when I've done them all, hopefully, if I get it right. So here's my rainbow of thankses. I've also cut a gold one, so we'll see if we use that. I think I will just work straight on a card blank. Gives me a little bit more real estate to work on. So I've marked 5 centimetres up there, which is 1/3 of the way up the card. I'm going to put some very skinny foam on the back of this. You could cut your die cut with foam already on the back. I cut some of that thin foam tape in half so that there are some really skinny bits on the back. And now I'll use my ruler just to get that on roughly straight. It's a bouncy font, so as long as it doesn't look like it's going up or downhill, I'll be happy. Yeah, I think that looks about right. Gently press that down. There's a few little creases in my foil, but hey ho, it's a handmade card. Actually, I don't think I'm going to have room for that one. I mean, I could use a bigger card base. I think we'll stick with this for now. Or I might ditch the yellow because the gold could stand in as the yellow, couldn't it? Yeah, I think that works. Now I've just got to stick it all down. I will use matte gel medium for this because I think I'm going to need the wiggle room. Okay, I think that'll do. We can cut the overhang off now. And you could very much leave that like that, but you could also add a few Nouveau drops to bring in a bit of texture. Could spread the gold out a bit, die cut some gold circles. Why don't we do that? Just use these little scraps. I'll add some little spots of matte gel medium cascading down here, and then just pop some circles on top. I don't want to make any of them look like dots for eyes because that would be weird because there's no eye. I think we'll be all right. Whoops. Come back. Hang on. Where's my doobry? I need my poker. There it is. Got this little stylus thingy, and I dip the end in some high-tack glue. Just a tiny little dot on the end, and it makes the stylus sticky enough to act like a pickup tool thing. Yep, I'm happy with that. A bright, colourful, a rainbow card with some bling. So I've selected these papers because they're fairly solid. These, well, they've all got patterns on, but those are sort of tone on tone patterns, as is this one, but this one's got white on it. And I think because I want to die cut from it and put it on a white card, I want the white to have some colour. So I'm thinking maybe if I just blend over a bit of skylight, I'll still keep the plaid pattern, but it'll be more of a solid colour. And these are not solids because this one's got flower, well, they both got flowers on, but they're small patterns, so I think they'll work. That's worked. You can see that there's no white on here. It's still plaid, but the white has become the same colour as the rest. I'm going to cut a little bit out of all of these, and I'm going to die cut this frame. This is one of those old slide holder things that we used to use in the 70s, 80s and 90s. And I'm going to cut just the front. I don't need the back portion, just the front from each of these papers. Right, I've got my frames, and I thought I would have them bouncing along the card like this from one side to another. I've got a stitch rectangle panel on a card blank there, and then simply have the word grateful there. I might put that on a vellum banner because it's quite a thin die cut and might not stand out very well. So we'll go with some matte gel medium. I do want the bottom of the first frame to be at the same level as the bottom of the last frame, and to have them at a similar angle. Then the others can just bobble along. And this is the kind of card you could give to someone who likes photography or someone who likes vintage stuff. I've used this die, stitched banner die, to cut out this in vellum. It's the perfect size for this particular sentiment, grateful. To adhere this word, I'm going to add adhesive to the back with my Xyron sticker maker. You just put it through, press it down, and it picks up the adhesive from the paper beneath. I've got to get that on fairly straight, I'd like that. Sometimes the adhesive from the Xyron sticker maker stretches between little bits, but you can get rid of it by just gently nudging it around with your tweezers or a pokey tool or something. If I'd thought about it, I probably would have put the banner through the sticker maker as well, but to adhere the banner, I'm going to pop some matte gel medium behind some of the twiddly bits. These bits of the word are also sticky because they went through the Xyron sticker maker, so that's going to help hold it all down. So one of the things the random number generator suggested were markers, brush markers, but I'm not going to do brush markers, I'm going to do dot markers. I think Summer Sun will work nicely with the yellow that's already there. So with these dot markers, the harder you press, the bigger the dot, the lighter you press, the smaller the dot. So there's some dots there, and I think I'm going to pick a darker colour, maybe denim, because I think it would go well with that. So I was going to leave it there, but I'm thinking I'll add some White Blizzard glitter drops to just the yellow ones. So these will dry clear, but they've got a bit of iridescent glitter in them. If you want to know how to get perfect Nouveau drops almost every time, I do have a video about that, and I'll leave a link to that in the eye up there and in the video description. Just press or click more and the description should open up for you with all the information and links that you might need. So those will dry clear and that yellow will show through, but they'll be glittery and dimensional. Right, I think that will do for today. I haven't used all my thank you sentiment dies, but I will use them at some point in the future, I'm sure. And I didn't use masking paper from my random number generated list, but that's okay. As I said earlier, things like prompts are there to serve us, not the other way around, so we can use them however we wish. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and it's given you some ideas of things you can do with pattern paper and dies. If it has, do let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I will see you back here tomorrow for the next day of Die Cut December. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.